Hi, I'm Heather, and I've got some black watercolor paper today, an outline stamp from my favorite things, and some gorgeous pearlescent paints. I'm stamping loosely lined flowers background on the watercolor panel, so I do it a few times just to make sure that I get a good impression. You can't see clearly where the Versamark is, so I always think it's safe to do it a few times. And the black watercolor paper is cold pressed, so it does have a bit of texture to it, so again, worth stamping it more than once. I'm embossing it in sterling ultrafine embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and the line art on this design is quite fine and detailed, so the ultrafine powder does a really nice job at embossing that image. These are the two sets of watercolors I'll be using today. They're Calero watercolors, which is a branch of Finetech. And I'm using the Ocean set first and the Midnight Blue color. Off camera, I already put a few drops of water into each little pan and let them sit for 2 or 3 minutes. That way the water soaks into the paint and softens it. And then I just mix it around with my brush a little bit to just get the pigment and the mica and shimmer and the water all mixed up into it. It's kind of like a little bit of a paste. These paints are a little more opaque than the usual watercolor paints, but they still blend, so I can still blend my green into my blue and get a little bit of a greeny blue there in the overlap. Now, as the paint lays down on this embossed image, it kind of looks like it's covering it up, but it shrinks back as it dries, so it won't cover up all the embossing. If I've got too much paint in there, I can just remove some, like I'm doing now, by swiping it through the image and then wiping it on the paper towel. This footage is sped up, in case you didn't realize that. I don't paint this fast, but I just wanted to speed it up so that I can show you more of the process. I'm not going to show you the painting of every single flower on this panel. I'm just going to show you the different color schemes that I do, and you'll get an idea of the process. But I do paint much more slowly than this, but that would be a little bit tedious to watch. For the round flowers, I'm switching over to the red from the Earth Color set. Calero has a bunch of different themed sets and they're beautiful. It's a little bit of overlap, but not much, so that you can end up with a really gorgeous set of kind of coordinating tones. I'm using the blue again from the Ocean set with the red from the Earth set, and you can see I'm getting a purple where they overlap. So the blending is similar to with regular watercolors, just they're not quite so transparent. But I have got that nice purple where I'm dragging the blue into the red. And then I'm going to come back again with a bit more red and just deepen that color around the center of the flower. So there's one more style of flower in this stamp, and it's this side kind of profile image of a flower with lots of little stamen. So this one I'm doing in the same red, because I don't want to introduce too many colors, and a bronze. So you can see as I go to use the bronze for the first time, I mix up the water that's been sitting there and diluting some of the paint. So again, I can do a little blend between the red and the bronze, and also you'll see me remove paint again just by wiping my brush on the paper towel and then just taking a little bit of paint out when I've laid down too much. If you really can't see your embossing anymore and it's not separating, then just take some out with a dry brush and it'll just remove some like that. These two products, the black watercolor paper and the pearlescent paints, are a match made in heaven, I must say. The pearlescent paints are nice on white, but they are amazing on black. Now, although little stamen have that little circle at the end, so I decided to just fill that in with a gold gel pen rather than try to paint it in with a tiny brush. And that was a quick and easy solution. And then I noticed I had just one little bit on the corner. I have no idea which flower that is, but just fill it in with blue. You can see how shimmery the paint was. That's why I kept picking it up and moving it around. I've got some nice blue cardstock that matches in with the blue of the paint and the Fluttering Friends set from My Favorite Things. And I'm stamping 3 different sentiments because I haven't decided yet which one I want. So I'm just going to stamp those with Versamark and emboss them with the same sterling embossing powder. Once they were embossed, I cut them out with the Simple Sentiment dies from Avery Elle. I love these dies, they are so handy. And then I'm going to put my card together. So there's the trimmed panel and the same blue cardstock that I used for the sentiments. So it'll be a blue card base which just blends in really nicely with the blue of the flowers. Just deciding where to put that sentiment, which flowers I want, which orientation for the panel, and I've got some silver thread as well to wrap around the panel. When I'm adding twine or thread or ribbon, I just tape it with everyday sticky tape on the back and then tape it again when I've got the other end, and then that gets covered up when I attach the panel to my card base, and it gets a little bit extra tape when I attach the panel. I'm popping up that little sentiment strip on some black foam tape from Gina K, and it's going to sit on top of those silver threads. When I was playing with this design and this process, I tried it with Just Colors from the Ocean set first, so that's the other card, and decided that I liked the combination of the 2 sets. But I made them both into cards because the shimmer is just so pretty. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you like this technique and these products that you might not be familiar with. Make sure you visit my blog, cards.heathertelford.com, and I'll see you again another day. Gotta take it on my